Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Right Out of My Head by BOZ SCAGGS. I have not heard of BOZ SCAGGS. I don't believe I've ever heard of the song, and have no idea what we're getting into. I just know that the song came out in 1988. I don't know anything else. So sometimes that's kind of fun, just to go in blind. But my mind is definitely open to learn. But I hope that you can all take something away from this as well as we dive into this music. I am a professional classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we dive into this music looking at how it was composed, some of the instruments that were used, some music theory, maybe some instrument demos, but also how do we relate to this music? Why do we like it? Or maybe why do we not like it? Okay, so no more delay. Let's listen. Okay, here we go.
Are there directions to these things? Is this my life or just some scheme?
All right. Cool start to this song. It is screaming 1980s. So I'm an 80s kid. I did get into some popular music, mainly through movies, but also a little bit on the radio in the late 80s, early 90s. I don't think I've ever heard this song, though. Like, not on the radio. And a lot of that, there was some 80s pop that I listened to, but then I was a little bit more into grunge, just in the early 90s. But then again, I sort of started my classical journey shortly thereafter and never completely looked back. Just a couple of bands were able to sneak through, like Radiohead. I really like Björk and, a few things like that. But this is reminding me of some music that I have heard in 80s movies, which is a lot of fun. It really sort of brings back a lot of memories for me. There is a certain feel and a certain sound, certain instruments, the synthesizer stuff, mixed with the really echoey, sort of splashy sound to the drum beat. And then there always has to be a really good electric guitar hook. But I think overall it's the synthesizer sounds. And there's a lot of cool synthesizer sounds in this. Still getting used to his voice. But we're just getting started. So let's keep going.
There's a message by the phone. I knew somehow you'd be there. But if I get that busy tone, it's just like being nowhere, and I go falling again. Right out of my head, you keep coming true to me. I knew that you'd come through for me.
right. So that's a good hook there for the main chorus right out of my head, saying the title a lot. Okay. I'm still not sure what the lyrics are, though. I'm hearing something about telephone, and I heard something about heart. But we'll get there. We'll take a look at the lyrics. Okay. I just am being swept away by the 80s synthesizer sound. It's so kind of overwhelming. Like, you know, the song is right out of my head. I feel like I'm over my head, like beneath the surface, like underwater. It's not muffled, but it's just like you're just floating in water, in a substance that's a little heavier than air. And it's just so thick. The texture is so thick and rich. And that is one thing that I kind of enjoy about the 80s sound. There are lots of different styles in the 80s, right? Oh my goodness. We had so many different genres, I think, that came up. So there's this specific one that's like synthesizer heavy bass line, but it's also really coming from the heart. And because of all of that, you just really get wrapped up. So as I'm listening, I really do feel wrapped up in all of this, just kind of enveloped. And my eyes are just sort of like, whoo, you know, searching almost something to land on and to focus on. So what I did start to notice are the vocals. I'm working towards hearing the lyrics. Again, I hear the music first and then the lyrics, so we'll get there. But I'm listening to the tone of his voice and how he utilizes his singing voice. He has so many different characters, so many different tones to his voice. Almost like there are 5 different people singing. He's got really good control. I haven't heard him hit like a wide range of notes, but I'm hearing some nice use of vibrato, and which is kind of where you shake the voice, I guess is the best way to describe that. And then a couple of little things like sliding into some notes and, you know, some musical gestures like that. But then I'm hearing some background voices. I'm trying to hear what they're saying. I'm not catching on to it yet. But I think he was maybe talking to somebody on the phone previously. There was a woman in the background. But now I hear a guy in the background. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. If it's something in his head, it's like voices in his head, having conversations, reliving memories in his head. I don't know what's getting right out of my head. We're getting something out of my head, out of, you know. Okay. It's a cool vibe, though. I'm really digging this cool 80s vibe. This is a lot of fun. Again, nostalgia for me. Wow. From my childhood. Okay. Let's keep going.
Out of my head, I've got to have you near me. Right out of my head, it's never been so clear to me. Sometimes one gets the notion he's living out his own fantasy. Now I've got the notion that it's you and me. Come on, baby, let's go outside. Think we're going for a midnight ride. Burning in the night, racing through the fine lines. Through the fire's light, I know that you'll be waiting, falling again, again, again. Right out.
All right. Awesome 80s drum fill, awesome 80s synthesizers, awesome 80s bass line, awesome 80s guitar solo. Okay. So it's just an awesome 80s song, right? Again, nostalgia for me. Is this 80s sound my most favorite genre? Not necessarily, but like I said, it's the nostalgia. It's the, I don't know, there's just something comforting about this 80s sound. It's also like, it's big and serious sounding, but it's also easily dated. It's still good, nonetheless. There's nothing wrong with sounding like a specific decade that the music was created in. That's okay. I mean, that's kind of what classical music is all about. We learn as classical musicians, if we study in school, we learn all about the music history of, at least of Western European classical music, and then how it spread out from there. And so for the last chunk of, several hundred years, we're seeing how that music developed. And so in this certain century, it's going to sound like this. And in that certain century, it's going to sound like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is what it sounded like when it was developed. So this is a fantastic 80s song. I got to check out the lyrics. It's kind of driving me crazy here. Driving me right out of my head, right out of my mind here. I don't know if that's the meaning. See? I got to know. Okay. And then we'll hear the end. Are there directions to these things? Is this my life or just some scheme? There's a message by the phone. I knew somehow you'd be there. But if I get that busy tone, it's just like being nowhere and I go falling again. Right out of my head, you keep coming true to me. Right out of my head, I knew that you'd come through for me. Games of the heart are played by fools. See, I heard something about the heart. But baby, your heart don't know no rules. Well, I get the picture, I get it through your laughter, and I get the feeling you know just what you're after. You do it again and again and again and again and again. Ooh. Right out of my head, you keep coming true. Right out of my head, I knew that you'd come through for me. Right out of my head, I've got to have you near me. Right out of my head, it's never been so clear to me. Sometimes one gets the notion he's living out his own fantasy. Now I've got the notion that it's you and me. Is that a good thing? Is this a relationship that he does want to fall into? Or is he saying this relationship, is it a figment of his imagination? Is he just wishing that this relationship could happen? Or maybe, maybe the person's not good for him, but he can't help himself. Come on, baby, let's go outside. I think we're going for a very long, long, long ride. I'm burning in the night, racing through the fine lines. Through the fire's light, I know that you'll be waiting. I'm falling again and again and again and again and again, right out of my head. Yeah, I knew that you'd come through for me. Okay. Or is this just about, is this more superficial and just like about an encounter in one evening? Or is it, I don't know, the message by the phone? I don't know if this is more about emotional romantic love or if this is more about physical love here. I don't know. Okay. Well, this is the kind of lyrics that can leave an interpretation open. So we'll just leave that open. If any of you all know out there what he was writing about, let me know. Otherwise, I might lean more towards the romantic side, getting swept away, because he's talking about his heart. So it might not just be physical. All right. Regardless, let's move on and hear the end of the song. How is it going to wind down? It's a big sound. That's a big, heavy train to sort of slow down and end just right.
My head, you keep coming true to me. Right out of my head, I knew that you'd come through for me. Right out of my head, you keep coming true to me. Right out of my head, I knew that you'd come through for me.
Okay. Big fade out. Makes sense. As it was being turned down, you could sort of take notice of a couple of the background instruments. So I heard the little syncopated bum, 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 bum in the guitar. That was kind of cool. I don't know if that was there the whole time. That's the kind of neat thing that when it comes in, you're like, oh, wait, was that there? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's put in the middle somewhere, but it's all part of the texture. And really, again, the 80s sound texture is so big and thick and rich that it's almost hard to keep track of it all. It's really easy to kind of get lost in it, you know? But I did hear the background voices, so it was just a little right out of my head, right out of my head, you know. The key is a typical key. Let me turn my keyboard on. So G major, and then it goes down to the lowered 7th, which is actually part of Mixolydian scale. So it's a mode. Normally for G major, that's part of that mode. It's sort of a variation of a scale, but it's very upbeat. And most of the chord changes were predictable, but what's not predictable are all the little voices that are coming in. There are lots of characters in this. And even the B section. So it was kind of like A, sort of. The B section, the little bridge, the little verse in there, it went to mostly predictable keys, related keys that sound comfortable going from G major. But there were a couple of fun chords in there that kind of got moved around, and it was all part of adding more of those characters. In fact, let's just kind of go to that middle section and hear it. I like all the echo, lots of echo in there, reverb. Okay. There, that's a cool little motion there. Okay. So it's just going to, from G major, down a minor third, down a third to E, but actually it's a flat 6 to E flat. Normally it'd be E major, but it's E flat. That's starting to get a little bit more advanced into some music theory ideas there, but it's going down stepwise. In G major it would be, but here we have, and it's still in a major sounding key, and it's still going back and forth stepwise, but then we eventually go back to G major like that. Let's keep going. So there's the G.
Come on,
yep.
Baby, let's go outside.
Okay.
Think we're going for a
Yeah, okay. Excellent guitar solo. Is that a famous guitarist? Is that him doing that? Who's the guitarist? It's pretty good. Not too notey. I could have even stood it to be a little bit longer, but there's just so much sound going on here that I still feel really fulfilled. Okay, but we're talking about some of the characters of this piece, and that right there really stood out in my head, in my mind. That's got to be him still, right? I can tell that it's got to be him, but it still sounds so different. Again, he's got like 5 different vocal characters that he uses throughout. And sometimes they have kind of a swallowed tone, or, like a Kermit the Frog, hey ho, Kermit the Frog here, but then there are other times it's really, really like open and wide. And I can't quite get the rhythm and rhyme to when he wants to use it. So right here, you hear a lot of that, the Kermit the Frog sound. That's not a bad thing. It's just a style, and his voice just must lend to that. naturally, but let's hear it.
Come on, baby, let's go outside. Think we're going for a minute.
Yeah, so he's up in his falsetto up there, and it sounds really neat. But I heard that characteristic, it was just lower, like towards the beginning. Let's go back to where he starts singing in the beginning. See, here's that awesome 80s bass line sound right there. Lots of...
Are there
Okay.
directions to
So you hear his voice?
these things?
Yeah. Are there the directions? It's that kind of tone, but it doesn't stay that way. Not for the whole song, anyway.
Is this
See?
my life?
There,
or
there. Is that first song, and then is my life, and then it went back again. Interesting.
just some scheme?
There, and then ski, that was open again. It could have been ski, but it's ski. See the difference? That's interesting how he is able to utilize both of them equally. But there were others. And then mixed with the vibrato, and then some of the slides again. So we heard sliding into it volume-wise, but then there were some actual notes that slid. Let's see if we can find that.
I've got to have you near me. Right out of my head. It's never been so clear to me.
So I'm picking up on something with the lyrics, like again and again and again and again and again. That was in the lyrics. And then, I don't know, we hear the title right out of my head a lot. Lots of things are repeated. And then we, right out of my head, right out of my head. Like it's almost maybe becoming a psychological thing. Is this about obsession? Is this person battling with really like authenticity, like who they are? Is that what all the different tones are? Or is this just how he sings all the time? I don't know. But that new aspect of it with the different characters mixed with maybe a hint of obsession of kind of losing one's mind, and then the repetition of all the words. Multi-layered. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but you know, that's the freedom with interpreting art. And this is a cool set of characters to try to interpret. Okay, that was Right Out of My Head by BOZ SCAGGS. So is the genre just plain old 80s rock? Is it, synthesizer rock? I don't know what this would be. It's pop-ish, but I don't know how mainstream this song is. I've never heard of this artist, and so I need to know more. So please, everyone out there, let me know more about this person, because I do like the sound. It's nostalgic for me. And just simply because of that, I can appreciate it. So if this is 1988, just go ahead into the future from there, like 5 years, and this is already going to start to sound kind of dated. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes certain artistic movements move that quickly. As far as I'm concerned, this is a really fantastic example of that full 80s sound. For me, as a symphony musician, I'm used to sitting in the middle of a full sound. I've obviously attended orchestra concerts, and the acoustics in the theater, in the hall, can be really, really great. But I guarantee you, sometimes it's not as exciting as sitting in the middle of it, where you can actually feel the rumble of the lower bass instruments through the floor, where you can hear up close the friction from all the bows moving in unison in all the string sections. There's something really exciting about that. So I feel like with this song, as an 80s song, you're able to just sit right in it, and it just really fills the space around you. And that's really cool. So, will this go on my playlist? Yes, it will. when I'm in the mood for 80s music, this is one that I'll go to. So thanks for joining me for this song. Hope you enjoyed the little 80s moment too. Don't forget to do all the things, like and subscribe, become a channel member, or join us over on Patreon. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Just be okay. And keep listening.